In a quiet village, there lived a hard-working stonecutter named Saroj. Every morning, as the first rays of sunlight kissed the earth, Saroj woke up with a deep sigh. He grabbed his hammer and chisel and walked towards the massive rock that stood like an unbreakable mountain before him. Every day, under the scorching sun, he chipped away at massive rocks, his hands calloused and his body aching. He worked tirelessly, yet deep inside, he felt weak and insignificant. With every strike of his hammer, his frustration grew. No matter how much I chip away at this rock, I will never break it, he thought. It's too big, too strong, and I am just a weak stonecutter. The sun burned his skin, sweat dripped from his forehead, and his hands ached from endless labor. Yet day after day he returned, battling the same immovable stone. One evening, completely exhausted, Saroj dropped his tools and slumped under a tree. He gazed at the sky, filled with self-doubt and despair. He sat under a tree. He watched a wealthy merchant pass by in a golden carriage, surrounded by servants. Envy filled Saroj's heart. If only I could be as powerful as him, he sighed. Just then, a mysterious voice whispered through the wind, "Your wish is granted." A golden light surrounded Saroj, and when he opened his eyes, he was no longer a stonecutter. He was the merchant. As a wealthy merchant, Saroj wore fine silk robes, owned great riches, and was treated with respect. But one day, as he traveled through the streets, he saw the king approaching. People bowed in fear and reverence. Even as a merchant, he had to step aside. The king is more powerful than me, he thought. I want to be the king. And once again, the mystical voice whispered, "Your wish is granted." Now, Saroj sat on a majestic throne, ruling with absolute power. But soon, he realized there was something greater than him, the blazing sun. No matter how strong he was, he couldn't stop its heat from burning his kingdom. The sun is the greatest power, he thought. I want to be the sun. And so he became the sun, shining brightly, controlling the seasons, drying rivers, and changing the world. But soon a dark cloud covered him, blocking his light. The cloud is stronger than the sun. I want to be the cloud. Again his wish was granted. As a mighty cloud he poured heavy rains and flooded villages. But then he saw something even more unshakable, a massive mountain, standing tall and unmoved. Even the clouds cannot shake the mountain. I want to be the mountain. Now, Saroj was the strongest mountain, unmovable and grand. He finally felt invincible, but suddenly he heard a familiar sound. Tap, tap, tap. A stonecutter was chipping away at him, cutting pieces from his mighty form. And in that moment, Saroj realized the truth. He had come full circle. The stonecutter. He is the strongest of all. He does not wish for power. He creates it with his own hands. For the first time, Saroj truly believed in himself. I want to be myself again. And the mystical voice whispered, Your wish is granted. Saroj opened his eyes and found himself back at his rock, hammer in hand. The sun was still blazing, his body still sore, but something inside him had changed forever. This time, he didn't sigh in frustration. He smiled. With newfound strength and determination, he lifted his hammer and struck the rock with purpose. Day after day, he worked tirelessly. And one day, after weeks of effort, he split the massive rock into pieces. As he wiped the sweat from his brow, he looked at his work with pride. For the first time, he realized he was never weak. He had always been powerful. He just had to believe in himself. From that day on, Saroj never doubted himself again. He understood that true strength isn't in being something else. It's in embracing who you are and never giving up. True power lies in persistence, dedication, and self-belief. True power comes not from wishing to be someone else, but from believing in your own strength, working hard, and never giving up. You don't need to be something else to be great. Who you are is already enough.